Okay, so now we're moving on to the more advanced movements, the Olympic lifting movements, which take a long time to perfect. So take the time to get them right. We're going to go through what you can do to make sure you learn quickly and safely and get the most out of your Olympic lifts. So we always start with the high hang for both the clean and the snatch. And the reason is, the less time you have to fuck something up, the less times you will fuck it up. So we try and break that movement down to the most simple movement that we can. And for us, that's going to be the high hang position because we have less moving parts. So you can see here his grip is just outside his thighs. So we should have a thumb width from the thighs or sort of just outside that knurling. You'll notice if he switches his lats off, the bar will roll down a lot further down the quads. So the first rule with having the bar up high is making sure our lats are active so we can get the bar up as high as possible, sort of just below your junk, because you don't want to hit that either. So as high as you can, just below your junk. From there, we're going to go through the muscle clean. That's our favorite way to warm up the movement. So if we show what a muscle clean is, it's high elbows, as high as we can, and then we roll our arms through and let the bar sit up in this front rack, finishing off the clean with as high elbows as we can and a loose grip. Unless you've got really good mobility, you want to make sure you can get the elbows as a priority. So we'll go back down to the clean, hang position. We also want to make sure we're tucking our thumbs inside our fingers, known as a hook grip, and that's pretty much to make sure we don't slip the bar out and we get the most activation we can through our lats and forearms. So the high hang power clean essentially is a triple extension from the ankles, knees, and hips, and we're trying to pretty much jump with weights, lift the bar up, and then we're going to move our body around and catch the bar in a quarter of a squat. Now the reason we do this, obviously we need to learn how to lift something from our hips to our shoulder the most effective way, and by using our hips, we're utilizing our body effectively. So first movement, we're going to drive our bum slightly back. So our armpits are directly above the bar. So we want to shift our weight. We want to try and keep a tall torso, but we still want our armpits to be above the bar. So we've got all that kinetic potential now through the hamstrings. The most common problem we see with that, stand tall, is softening through the knees and keeping the bar in front of our body. You can see here there's not much power in the knees. We want the power to be in the posterior chain through the hammies and glutes. So all we have to do there is just shift our bum back slightly. We still want to keep the bar up as high as we can in that high hang position, and we do that by keeping the lats active. So from here, what he's going to do is he's going to jump, shrug, keep that bar as close as he can to your midline, and once it reaches the apex of the pull, we're going to drop under that bar and receive in a quarter of a front squat position. So let's jump, shrug, perfect. You can see how that bar sort of slightly lands on his body, and he didn't actually like roll it around with his wrist. It's a perfect rep, so we're going to go one more time. Try and look out for it on this rep. He's going to jump, shrug, and you can hear that barbell land in his throat with his elbows nice and high, and the bar's now sitting across his body in a perfect hinge position. All that power, we refer to that power position, is back through the hips, and he stands tall before finishing the rep. Alrighty, so like we said, there's plenty going on with the Olympic lifting, so there's going to be plenty of mistakes that come with it. The first one we're going to see is the bar coming too far away from our midline, making it actually harder to do and a lot more prone to injury, and we call that the T-Rex arms or the curl. So we want to make sure we minimize that by keeping the bar as close as we can. So give us an example of a T-Rex arm. So we come away, the hips usually extend, and we curl the bar in. We want to make sure we shave the nipples or pull our shirt up with the bar and keep that bar as close to the midline as we can so that we can jump under the bar and receive. The other common fault would be not receiving in the power position. So show us a power clean and then see how he didn't receive in the power position, he just received in that tall position there. The reason why we want to get good at catching the power position is so that we can move on to the squat clean, which is going to be the most effective way to move load from our hip to our shoulder. So get used to catching with our bum back and our strong, stable position when we clean. Boom, perfect. Abs are engaged, elbows are high, the bum's back, and all our weights evenly distributed throughout our foot, so we feel strong and powerful when we receive that bar.